well, we don't like this stuff. It's drama. I'm like, well, how many times can I tell you not to take Tren? And how many times can I go over the dangers of Rad 140? Like I can only do, so I need to try different things. So hence now I'm interviewing you. That's different. And we can learn a lot from you. I'm very honored to have John, who has a YouTube channel, Obese to Beast. It has, what, 800,000+ followers? 700?
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
A shit ton of followers. And this guy, he's lost over 160 pounds, and he's actually kept the weight off for years, okay? And I think, was it first that you got popular? Was it the Ellen DeGeneres show when they showed having loose skin? Was that what gave you kind of like the spark, the start?
Yeah. So that was kind of the start of it. So what actually happened a little bit before that, which was the reason I went on the show, was I made that video. It was called My Biggest Insecurity. And I was just sharing my loose skin, and I didn't have any plans, but apparently at that time, a lot of people were curious about that type of thing. And so I just made a video kind of showing my loose skin after losing all the weight. And then, I mean, the video it was everywhere. It was on every news channel. It was crazy. And then I ended up going on the Ellen show, and then the rest is kind of history from there.
That's awesome. That's a great story. I mean, and to just show like your body, you know, after losing I've coached a lot of these people, and they're really nervous with only just a little bit. And so to make an actual video to show everyone, say, hey, this is me. I'm proud of this. And who cares? Like, isn't that awesome?
The thing with loose skin that I've noticed, because obviously I've worked with or spoken to literally hundreds of people that have it, is it's a really weird feeling, because you are very proud of your weight loss, and you have people around you that are also very proud of your weight loss. But your loose skin, if you're not open about it, is a secret that you carry. And it's this sort of shame that you carry as well, because you almost feel, and it's technically true, is that you put yourself in the position of being really overweight, and then you lost weight, which was this great success that you've had. But then you feel like you carry this shame, which is the loose skin, where I try and frame it in a different way. It's like, you know, it's this kind of like trophy, as cheesy as that might sound, but it's nothing to be ashamed of. It literally is just loose skin, but it's really hard to see it as just that when you are living with it daily.
I mean, I see it no different really than, hey, you're pregnant, you had twins. I have a twins. You have a lot of weight gain. You're going to have some loose skin, some stretch marks and different things, but you shouldn't be upset or just looking at your body and just being like, I don't like what I see. It's just skin. It's just your body. As long as you feel healthy. And I mean, in comparison, like I've literally had people say, I don't want to lose the weight because I'll have loose skin. I'm like, you would rather have loose skin than live a long life? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm. I feel the same exact way. Honestly, when I hear that, what I actually hear from that person is, I want to lose weight, but I actually don't want to put in the work that is required. And so I'm trying to find an excuse to give me a reason why I won't actually do it. And so for me, it's like, it's fine if that's the position that you're in, but that's what I hear in my head. And I'm like, all right, well, you're not going to lose the weight if that's your mindset. So there's no reason to even really try at this exact moment.
And speaking of the weight loss, what actually sparked you to just say, enough is enough, I'm going to lose this weight? Because I mean, I'm assuming it slowly happens over your lifetime. And me, I'm a firm believer that it's a genetic based thing. Like if I try to eat a lot, I couldn't get to 300 pounds. Like it's not in my genetics. And why do I say that? Because I've tried to get really big so that I could lift more. So for me, I can't. So when I see someone who's extremely overweight, I've watched a 600-pound loser, all these shows, I see people who have really, really chosen the wrong parents. Not that they can pick their parents, but this is genetics from their parents. And yeah, they're eating too much, but it's a lot of a genetic component. So when you were in, 300+ pounds, what just said, that's it? Was it blood work, a doctor, boyfriend, girlfriend, circle friend? What is it that like said, that's it?
So before I get into, this is what I call my click moment. Before I get into that, I kind of want to share a little bit of my background of how I gained the weight, right? So I was someone that was always kind of overweight. Like basically, I remember, I think I was 5 years old. I ended up getting a hernia, the one that you get like in your pelvis area.
I had the same thing, 4 years old.
Yeah.
Same thing, surgery.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I had surgery for that. And then I was like bedridden after that for a little bit. Right. And up until that point, I was not overweight at all. And I don't know. My mom is always like, oh, I think maybe the medicine they gave you or whatever. I think it was a mixture of a lot of things. Like maybe the medicine they gave me also was very sedentary, but that's when I started gaining weight. So 4 years old onwards, I'm gaining weight. Gaining from, in elementary school, I was husky. And then in middle school, I was like fat. And then in high school, I was literally the biggest kid at the school. Right. And so for me, losing weight was something that I wanted to do like from since when I could remember, right? It was something that I've wanted to do forever. There's one story that's really funny. My mom at the time, Slim Fast was big, right? And so she bought these Slim Fast shakes, which are meal replacement shakes. But for me, I'm in like junior high. I'm thinking, okay, I drink Slim Fast and I lose weight. So I would drink Slim Fast, but still eat the same amount of food. So honestly, it was just
added to it.
Yeah. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, it's called Slim Fast. Let's do it. But so I had gained weight my entire life. And then when I left high school, I gained it like even faster because in high school, I was like, for a big dude, I was relatively active. Like I didn't play any sports, but I skateboarded to school or biked to school most of the time. I skated all the time. Like that was my form of activity, basically. I love skating. And it was funny because I was so large. So I would skate down the street and people would be in their cars like, what the heck? But it was always really fun to me. But so I was like kind of active. And then once I got out of high school, that slowed down, right? Which is very common for a lot of people. But then I started gaining weight even faster. So fast forward to when I am 20 years old. And at this point in my life, I truly, like no joke, was afraid of dying all the time. Like because of how big I was, I truly, and this is my own anxiety that I have as well, but I would be afraid to be home alone because I thought if I have like some sort of heart attack or a stroke, no one will be here, right?
And so would you say you were so overweight that you actually were concerned, I'll die of a heart attack? Like are you thinking I'm so overweight, I'm a home alone that something might happen right now? So it was to that level. So like an extreme fear of just like, how much overweight were you? Like how far above and what did you weigh at like 15 versus 20? Did it like just continually go up?
Yeah, it's so hard to honestly remember because that's been, it's so many years, but when I was in high school, I'm pretty sure by the time I graduated, and again, I never weighed myself, right? That's pretty common. So I don't know exactly, but looking at photos and stuff, when I graduated high school, I was above 300, maybe 320 when I graduated. And I graduated when I was 17. So like from 17 to 20 is when I gained, like I always say my heaviest weight was 360, but like I've talked to my mom and she's like, I think you are honestly probably heavier than that because I didn't weigh myself until I had lost a good amount of weight. So I might have been heavier than 360. But yeah, so I was 20 years old and like this fear was very real. And again, I don't even know how realistic that was, but I'm just saying that's what went through my head was like this genuine fear of like, it wasn't, will my weight kill me? It was when will my weight kill me? Like it was that simple. In my head, it was like, I'm going to die because of my weight. So when is that going to happen? Right. And so I had that going through my head. But then there's this story that I like to tell. So I was actually invited to a wedding. It was my best friend's brother's wedding. And it was up in Utah. I live in San Diego. So we decided that we were going to drive up to the wedding. Before the wedding happened, obviously I had to find clothes, which was miserable in and of itself. Like when I was at my heaviest, I wore a 5XL shirt and a size 56-inch waist pant. So finding clothes for that took forever. Luckily, my best friend went with me and we found stuff. But then we end up driving up to this wedding and it's like a 13-hour drive. And I'm just sitting in the car, eating snacks, not drinking any water, just like, how I always did. But then when we got to Utah, I remember this like clean as day. I went to get out of the car and I got like super lightheaded and I almost fell back into the car. And then everyone that was there, because like there was like a party going on already and we like showed up when the party was already happening. They were like, whoa, like, are you okay? And again, remember the reason I told you I had that fear when I was 20 was like in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm dying or like something serious is going on. But I just played it off and I was like, oh yeah, I just like dehydrated, probably haven't drank enough water, the elevation change. I don't know. I just need some Motrin and I'll be fine. So I took the Motrin and stuff. And luckily, like it wasn't anything serious, at least nothing that like caused me to have a serious issue. But for the rest of the trip, we were there for a few days. I literally could not stop thinking something is seriously wrong. So, but we end up doing the wedding. Everything's fine, whatever. We drive back down. And then I think it was probably a few weeks after the wedding, the photos came out. Right. And then I remember, like I said, I like spent a lot of time trying to find clothes because I wanted to look good, you know, like, and then I see the pictures and I use one of the photos as the background on my phone because I remember I saw the photo and I was like, that's what I look like, you know, and I was like so proud of this outfit.
So you're saying you're still on your phone right now?
Yeah, it's still.
This what is like a reminder to say,
yeah,
like, hey, this is a long way I've come. This was kind of, in your opinion, that was like your worst, we'll call it, your worst shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely obese at this point, like morbidly obese.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, about as severe as it gets until like I looking back now and knowing what I know now, I was a few years away from like my mobility being like very compromised.
So even walking was difficult. Like it was to the point of walking, like a flight of stairs, like one flight.
Oh yeah, it was incredibly difficult. And like I worked at the van store. That was my first ever job. And I would do 4-hour shifts. So not like super long shifts, but you had to stand and it was so painful. Like just not fun at all. And I would
I'm just thinking you're to double my weight. Say if I had to carry myself just standing there for 4 hours, just to stand up with me on my back, that's hard without moving. So no wonder it was hard.
Yeah, it was. I just remember I would complain to my coworkers all the time. And I think back now and I'm like, they're probably in their head thinking like, bro, like, I wonder why, you know, but they were always very nice and they wouldn't make me feel bad. But then, so a few weeks after that wedding, there's a reason I tell that whole story. That wasn't my click moment. So a few weeks later, I was watching Miami Ink., which is like a show where they do like tattoos and they show people getting tattoos.
I've watched. And
I've always been a fan of tattoos. I don't have like that many, but I had like these two. So I had this one on my forearm and this one on my forearm. And the reason they were on my forearm was for a very specific reason, because that was the only part of my body that ever really showed. Because I always wore like really long shorts and like they were short sleeves, but they would go down to like mid forearm just because of how big I was. And I wanted more, but I was just like, if I get tattoos in other places, no one's ever going to see them. They would look kind of weird. So I didn't get them. But so on one of the episodes, this is when Netflix was like new-ish. So on one of the episodes, I was like binge watching one of the episodes. This guy had lost a lot of weight and he was getting a tattoo to commemorate the weight loss. I think he was getting like a hamburger tattoo or something. And I honestly I don't exactly remember what he said, but I remember in my head, it was something along the lines of like choices led me to the position that I'm in now. And so I had to make better choices, like to change it. Right. And it finally, that's what I call my click moment, because it was that night I was eating Panda Express. I had a double entree plate of orange chicken and chow mein or fried rice, one of the two, and a large soda. I drank a lot of soda, like a 2-liter of soda every day, basically. And I remember thinking to myself, all right, tomorrow I'm going to do it. But I was like, I need to finish this food because I don't want to waste it. So I finished the food. But I remember I woke up the next day and I felt like a new man. Like that next morning, I woke up, I went and I got a haircut. I bought water and I got like sandwich stuff because I was like, I don't know what's healthy, but sandwiches are better than, Panda Express. So
McDonald's or something.
Yeah. I mean,
sure.
Oh man, I used to... We could go into that, but my order at McDonald's was ridiculous. And then that was a start. Like it was, and this is like what I try and talk about on my channel a lot is like, you don't need to know everything to start. You can do what I call the common sense diet, right? Cutting out liquid calories, fast food, junk food, very simple things, especially if you're really, really, really overweight, because the more overweight you are, the more simple changes you can make and the faster results and bigger results you'll see. That's like one of the positives about being like really, really large, because you'll see changes real quick, But yeah, so that was like my whole click moment. My whole start was from there.
In my yearbook in grade 12, I think the quote said, my worst fear was to gain 10 pounds of fat. And growing up, I always had an intense fear of being overweight. And I'm not making it up. And I would be scared. I was like, I don't want to see my fat. And when I would sit down, I had my rolls of fat. So I was almost obsessed with not being overweight. But at the same time, everyone knew me as that's the guy that can eat a lot. So I could eat so much food. It was shocking to see how much I could eat. So you're talking about your McDonald's, like what would be a crazy McDonald's meal? Because for example, I would go to McDonald's and order a 20-pack of nuggets and 2 large fries and have multiple milkshakes and have that in no problem. But yet I didn't gain a lot of weight just because of my genetics. Perhaps if I had your genetics, because I ate a lot of food. I don't know. I might have eaten as much as you, but then I was lean, but I was doing triathlons and doing so many sports. It just kept me lean. And to this day, what am I doing? I'm riding bikes and stuff as you are doing triathlons and training, and we're racing on Zwift. So I'm curious, like, what was this, like, what would be a big meal for you, McDonald's, when you were like on your way to getting heavier?
So for me, a very normal McDonald's order was two McDoubles, two McChickens, a large fry, and a large drink, a large soda. And then sometimes I would get nuggets on like the side or whatever.
Oh,
And I remember it's interesting that you share that, because it is something that's interesting to me. I think Gen X definitely plays a part, but I think something that a lot of people don't put into play is how important your activity level outside of what you're eating is. And I think, like, for me, I would see my friends that would eat with me at McDonald's, and I would think, why am I gaining so much weight, but they're not? They're in the same similar position, right? Maybe not eating as much as you, but they weren't as active, I would assume, as you were as well. But what I have realized looking back is that they're eating 1/3 of the amount of food that I am, and they are much more active. Like, they're moving way more than I am. But in my head, I'm thinking we are eating the same food, because technically we are eating McDonald's, both of us, but I am eating 3 times as much as they are, and my activity is maybe half as much as theirs is. And so for me, that, looking back, I realized, okay, that was my problem. Was, one, comparing yourself is always kind of pointless anyways, right? Like, there's no reason to, because regardless of if you have good genetics or bad, that's the hand you're dealt. You can't change that, right? But and then looking back, and again, it comes down to choices. I was choosing to eat that much food, and I had to suffer the consequences.
Who is your favorite, most watched fitness influencer? Like, who do you watch? I mean, you can have your favorite, but who do you actually watch the most? Like, hours per week. Like, who can you sit there and listen to?
Dude,
and why?
honestly,
Like, what do you get out of it?
it's a good question, and to be honest, I don't watch many people. Like, I don't know if it's because this is what I do, and so if I'm gonna spend time watching YouTube, it's not gonna be fitness influencer people. It's gonna be something else. And like, I watch the most random stuff. Like, it's just, if it gets recommended to me, and it's a no joke, last night and all of yesterday, I watched a 3.5 hour video of this girl summarizing the plot of Vampire Diaries on CW Network.
So you just get in a rabbit hole and you can't get out of it.
So, like, for me, I really don't spend much time like watching many fitness influencers. I think, like, the most stuff I'll watch is commentary based videos, so videos similar to yours and stuff like that, because I personally do not care about what someone's doing in a day. I don't care.
What
about
in the past? Like, when you first learned, did you start by watching them? Like, people often say, like, Greg, back in the day and this stuff, I didn't watch YouTube. Like, I watched a few Rich Piana videos, a couple videos here and there. I just got into YouTube and I didn't know what people were doing. I just wasn't a YouTube person. Now I watch more YouTube videos than anyone. I watch mine. I watch yours. I watch so many videos. I get so many ideas from it. I have different concepts. I love to debate. So when I see someone with a different opinion, I'm like, why do they have an opinion? And I find it fuels me. And when I'm talking in a video, I'm like, that person that said that day, and it's in my brain now, and then it comes out. And so you don't get any of that, or maybe you used to. Has that changed?
Yeah, so I mean, it definitely shows that that's something that you enjoy doing in your videos. I mean, you're making like what, 2 to 3 videos a day, most
14
of the time.
a week, so 2 a day.
Yeah. So I mean, it shows, and like, I'm sure I could make more videos, and maybe if I wanted to do that, but I just personally, I don't. But like, when I first, like, that's how I learned everything, was watching YouTube videos. And so I think that watching YouTube videos is invaluable. And so the people that I used to watch back in the day was like the old OG kind of YouTubers. So like Christian Guzman back in the day, I used to actually watched a lot of his videos. I learned about like intuitive or counting your macros and stuff like that.
Mindful eating, intuitive eating, debating.
Well, not intuitive eting. That's a whole nother thing. But like, I learned about tracking your macros. There was a guy named Michael Corey that used to make videos back in the day, very similar to that, kind of explaining stuff. I remember I watched like the old Scooby videos from back in the day.
I was just gonna say, what about Scooby? Am I Scooby? because I never watched the Scooby guy, but everyone's like, you're Scooby. And I was like, oh, I got to see. And I mean, it was a little bit, I thought, but like, so, am I Scooby? Am I the new Scoob?
I think so. 100%. You're a little bit more controversial than Scooby ever was, I think. But yeah, I watched like a lot of like the old school fitness vlog type of stuff, because I get very immersed in things, and when I get into something, I get really into it. And so I was really into, so anyone you can think of from that era, like Chris Jones or anyone that vlogged fitness, I probably watched them because it
Right.
like it. And what's really cool is that people now say like, oh, I'm inspired by you to lose weight or like make YouTube videos because of you. And I'm like, it's just cool because I was inspired by people to make videos and make this my career kind of thing. But yeah, like now I watch fitness videos. Honestly, like I don't want it to seem like I'm like kissing your butt, but like you're probably the person that I watch the most as far as like fitness videos are concerned.
I mean, I don't think that's like, I think just by sheer number, it's kind of like when there's 1,000 videos there, how are you not suggested them? That was my whole theory. I'm like, wait a minute, the more videos I put out there, the more likely they're going to click on one. And if I have 100 different topics, they're going to watch one. If they watch one, YouTube will recommend another one and they'll get another one. And another guy that did the same thing as me is Derek Plates for Dates, more plates, more dates. He's written, he's like, you inspired me to do these multiple videos, because Derek puts out, I think, more videos than I do. And look how he's growing really, really quick. Tons of views, super informative, good channel. So you can see how if you put out more content, you're likely to get more viewers, and those viewers watch more. I mean, and there is a cyclical kind of like, I think after 6 months or so, I've taught people most of what they're going to learn. And then it's hard to kind of give more of the new information. So a lot of my old viewers are like, well, we don't like this stuff. It's drama. I'm like, well, how many times can I tell you not to take trend? And how many times can I go over the dangers of RAD 140? Like I can only do, so I need to try different things. So hence now I'm interviewing you. That's different. And we can learn a lot from you. So, that's why I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I deal with very similar criticism of people that used to watch my videos back in the day, because again, I was inspired by these people that made vlogs. So what did I do? I made vlogs, right? And so my channel started off as me just kind of vlogging things. And it was like right towards the end of when I had lost the weight. So I was still learning a lot of stuff and I was still trying a lot of stuff out. And I was working 2 jobs. So I shared that whole kind of thing that I went through. And then like you said, there's only so many videos I can talk about total daily energy expenditure and tracking and learning about BMR. And like, I've made those videos many times, and like, I don't mind making them every year or so, like to update and refresh it. Right. But it's like, there's only so much I can talk about when it comes to weight loss. And so that's why I really enjoy doing the commentary style videos. And then on top of that, now I'm doing like, I do them live streams, which for me is just another way to like change things up and enjoy it. But yeah, it's definitely like, if you're, I know this isn't like a YouTube tips video, but like if you're planning on doing YouTube, like you have to be willing to change things and understand people are going to be mad about the change every time. But hopefully more people are happy about it and they stick around, right? Like that's what I think, at least in my head.